I'm Becky Fawcett, if you didn't know that yet. I'm a mom by adoption. I'm an infertile blonde, a female founder, and a businesswoman. Podcast rulebooks all say that your introduction must always be the same for every episode. I don't like that. My guess is mine will not be. For most of my life, I've tried to be perfect and do what everyone else was doing. And then I tried to have children. And that is my plot twist. Now I look for any opportunity to be different. I'm an outspoken advocate who wants to change the world. And as my guest today knows, this always gets me into trouble. But for the most part, it helps me make real connections with real people. Welcome to my podcast, The Fawcett Report. I'm so glad you're all here. My guest today is a fashion and beauty lover and a longtime friend of mine. This is what I love about this resume, you guys. Ready for this? Don't say you can't be everything in this world.
True.
She has worn so many hats. She's been a preschool teacher, a gym teacher, a production assistant at NBC, a desk assistant at CBS. She's sold facelifts, mortgages, and ready? She's also smart. She has a master's degree from University of Pennsylvania. For those of you who don't know, that's Penn, in child development and education. Welcome to the Fawcett Report, Meeghan Mullin.
Thanks for having me. Super happy to be here. I know that resume even cracks myself up. And I forgot to mention that I was a makeup artist forever and a day.
I realized you left that off, and I didn't know if that was intentional or you've really done a lot of things, which is going to be part of what we're talking about today. And I'm so happy you're here. And I see you have a stack of Help Us Adopt bracelets on, which I love.
I love them.
And those white ones, I have been wearing some off-white ones and these army green ones, but now I'm going to have to go get the white ones out for spring and summer because they're so good.
It's time. And, I have my regular 2 bracelets on that I always wear, and they just go with everything.
That's it. You just mix them up. We'll get back maybe to the Help Us Adopt bracelets. But as I said, when I created this podcast, I wanted it to be about my life and fashion and makeup and lifestyle and living in New York and all these things. But I did say in my mission statement, all roads in my life lead back to Help Us Adopt. It's really cool.
Yep.
So when I invited you on today and started thinking about what we were going to talk specifically, in addition to you being fabulous, the root of our friendship really did start talking about motherhood and the pivot. And some of our initial friend conversations were about to career or not to career. Is that the question? And I know that sounds so corny, but this is a big deal for women and women who want to be moms and want to have a job or a career, because both count. And the thing is that there's a lot of judgment in all of this and stigmas about if you step out of the workforce to be a mom, and then how the hell do you get back in? And in my case, I didn't step out of the workforce at all. I did a major pivot. We're here to support each other and talk about how we can all support each other and how we all get to make different decisions when we decide to parent, right?
100%. Yes.
And this should be an open conversation, not something that women talk behind each other's backs about. And so we're going to bring all this out today. First, though, before we get there, we have a really good story of how we met. Do you remember?
Of course. So there's a kind of 2 parts to it. But the first part, which is what I know that you are referring, is at, I think it was a mutual friend of ours, fabulous party. And I walked right up to you and I said something to the effect of, I love what you're doing. I admire you. I have a little bit of adoption in my life, not personally in terms of my own immediate family, but in my extended family, I have 2 cousins who are adopted, open adoptions. And I've always been inspired by that. And when I found out about you and your foundation, your organization, I was blown away. And I just thought to myself, I need to be a part of this in some way, shape, or form. Because also, as I was becoming a mother, it was not this easy peasy thing for myself as well. And it wasn't until I had a moment where I said, you know what? I'm going to be a mom no matter what, whether it's through the biological way or whether it's through adoption, it's going to happen. And once I had that peace in my heart and in my soul, that is ironically when I did become with child, as they say. But I really attribute just the peace I felt from knowing that adoption was an option for me and one that I was completely open and accepting of and even excited about were that to be my path.
I did not have that piece. And
Right.
as I was going through all this
Yeah.
struggling to have a mom, because I didn't have any connection and none of it
Right.
was talked about. And I didn't have any experiences. And of course, people only want to tell you the bad things they know about
Of
adoption
course.
and why you shouldn't do it. And
Yep.
I loved that about you. And that was one
Yeah.
of the things I remember standing in this party and we knew each other because we had mutual friends. Let's be honest. Always thought you were fabulous. You know that. But it was funny because I remember you telling me, I'm really shy. And I was thinking you, and I was thinking to myself, it's the whole reason I think I never said anything to you because I'm shy sometimes. Yeah. And then we just started laughing because
I know.
No one thinks either one of us is shy.
I know. It's so funny. It's the truth.
Here we were thinking, oh, I can't possibly say anything to her. But
I know.
But when you did, it was just instant. And I remember never being at a loss for words with you, ever. We always talked about clothes and fashion and style. But one of the real things that I do love that we share is our love for reading. And we both figured that out very early on. We both love old Hollywood and old New York. And that we settled on immediately as some books that we loved.
Yes.
And I have a new book that I read this end of summer, maybe. Hitchcock Blondes. Did I tell you about this?
No, but that rings a bell, but I have not read it.
Okay. So someone gave it to me. And I have to tell you, they gave it to me tongue in cheek, right? Because I'm a blonde and they know I love old Hollywood. Fine.
Yes.
And I started reading it and I was instantly aware that I had no idea Hitchcock's career was so in-depth because I think you just hear Psycho and the Birds. Had no idea about it. And then I realized I hadn't seen a single film ever in my life. And how could this be? So I've now gone on a deep dive of old Hitchcock movies to boot. But if you haven't picked up Hitchcock Blondes, you got to read it because you of all people will love it.
Yes. As soon as I get into my bedroom at night, on go the old movies. I only watch black and white. Oh my gosh. So I could go on. I have ones to tell you
when
about.
we're done this, we'll have to compare notes of what we've seen and what I should be watching. But I'm now on a new rabbit hole of stuff. How could this be at 55 years old?
I'm jealous that you get to explore this for the first time. Now, when I was in college, believe it or not, I took quite a few film classes when I was at Villanova. And I think one of them was actually an in-depth class around his films. He is quite the individual, quite the character, isn't he?
Yeah, he was a bad dude, unfortunately. He was the first. He was the first bad Hollywood guy.
I was just going to say that.
Harassment and all these things. And he only wanted blondes for a reason, as you find out in the book and whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Oh, I can't wait to read it.
Get the book. Anybody listening, it's good. And before we have this whole podcast about books, I might have to have you on down the road to talk books. But what is your favorite book that I should be reading?
Yeah. The book I read when we were away last week is actually by a local author. Her name's Mary Slinkard, and it's called Her Final Gamble. It's really good. A lot of characters.
So a Philadelphia author.
Yes, a Philadelphia author.
Oh,
and she literally dropped it on my doorstep, and I thought, I was going to read something else on vacation, but I'll bring it with me. And it's one of the few books as of late that I have immediately gotten into and
devoured.
Exactly. Yeah. I will pass that one along to you. It's quite good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right. So we're going to leave Becky's book club.
Yes.
That's a whole new podcast.
As it should be.
And we're going to move into motherhood and parenting. And if you work, do you give it up? All these things. Let's talk about your career because some of our first conversations, you were not working.
Correct.
And this is a while ago. And you were like, how am I going to do this? I need to do something. I don't know what to do. So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Talk about that struggle and things you tried that didn't work.
I guess I should start by saying my two girls are 18 months apart, almost 19 months. So even though I'm a total baby person, I love babies, I love toddlers. My mother always used to say, you'll find as a mother, you're either really good in the baby toddler phase, or you're really good in the teenage phase, or you're really good in the school age phase. And you'll find that you gravitate more towards some of those areas more than others. For me, I loved the baby and toddler stage. Having said that, I was also extremely overwhelmed. My family is not local. My husband's family, they're much older and their children are much older. So they were out of that phase. I felt lonely. I was very lonely and overwhelmed. And I was also somebody who was very much a stickler for my children's schedules. And it drove everybody who knew me crazy. But guess what? I didn't care because that is what worked for me. And that is what gave me my freedom in my own mind, because I knew when they were napping, I knew when they were going to bed, and then it was my time. I do not think, were I in the position where I had to go to an office, I don't know what would have happened to me. I think I would have had some sort of a breakdown because I would have just been even more overwhelmed. So I was fortunate enough to be in a position where I could stay home for a number of years. But I also, during that time, I was still doing my makeup a lot. I was doing a lot of brides. I was doing some work for a photographer. And so on the weekends, my husband would stay with the girls, with the babies, and I would go off for 6-7 hours. And I did have that outlet, which was nice.
You had an outlet.
Yes.
You had something. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. I look at the young moms now around here and they all have these nice little groups, and I just didn't have that. I don't know.
I didn't have that either because I was so late having children because of the whole infertility problem. Like, I was left behind. Still, some of my friends their kids are getting married and they're all out of college, and they're like, why aren't you coming on this girls trip? I go, because I have a 15 and a 19-year-old.
Exactly.
We forgot. So I was like this lone wolf. It was hard because I didn't have any humps.
Yeah, totally. I get it. That's exactly the situation I was in. So I was where I was supposed to be at the time, I think.
And then just to give the devil's advocate, maybe could have stayed home. But my situation was, I'm the oldest of 5 kids, and I'm 55 almost. And then I have 3 brothers in the middle. And then my sister is 20 years younger.
Yeah.
So I really saw and raised, my parents took full advantage of the fact that I was like this nurturing type A oldest girl. I did do a lot with my siblings growing up. I just always knew that I was not a full-time mom. I also want to say straight out and transparent, I do believe that staying home full-time with your children is 10 times harder than the career I have had as an entrepreneur. Really do. But I knew enough about my wiring. You said it. This is the important piece. You did what was good for you and to make you whole.
Yes.
And I knew that keeping my career, because I've had a career. It wasn't just a job. I had a career. And I owned a PR firm at the time. So that's a little different than just a job. I knew I wouldn't be whole if I gave up my job. Now, of course, I would have. If I'd had a child that fully needed me, I would have absolutely done it in a heartbeat. But I didn't have to make that choice. And I also was at home. I had a home office. I did have a full-time nanny at home. And I got the best of both.
Oh, that's awesome.
But I orchestrated that life big time. I really built that life in anticipation of being able to do exactly what I did. And it isn't until recently that Help Us Adopt has gotten so busy. I now have very normal office hours out of the house, which is a shock to everybody.
That is a shock. That's a shock to me.
It's a shock to everybody because I've always been there. But now Help Us Adopt is cruising. My career is really soaring to new heights. I looked at everybody and I said, I love all of you. But this is now my time. It's now my time.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean I'm not here for you. I'm just here for you in a different way. And this is it. We should be able to do all of it.
All of it. We really should.
Without the guilt. Without the guilt.
It's a thing. It is a real thing. I can remember even just going to get my hair done was like I felt guilt about being away from them. And that's so ridiculous. It's just ridiculous because think about it. Men, when they go to the office and they leave their families every single day, like there's no guilt there. What is that?
No, the whole working mom title. I've talked about this all the time. No one calls them working dads. And on one hand, I do think, and this is where my opinions get me into trouble, like I talked about in my intro, but here's the deal. There is no one who can multitask like a working mother. There's no one.
Absolutely.
And this is actually the best lead in to my thing of women going back to work.
Yeah.
And women who have decided to stay home and not work, and they have a gap on their resume, which I think this is the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
And then they find that they are left behind in a different way to go back into the workforce, and they're judged for that gap. And I have to tell you, like when I talk to my friends, I'm like, you go right in there and apply for that job, and you tell them what you have juggled for the last 8 years or whatever it is. You've juggled the kids, you've juggled the groceries, you've juggled the feeding, you've juggled the meals, you've juggled the sports schedules, you've juggled your spouse, you keep a whole household running, you pay bills. So while you might not know how to do an Excel spreadsheet, you can clearly figure that out on a tutorial on YouTube. Hint. Take those management skills and go fight your cause. And if you need your friend Becky to write your recommendation, like for employers to not understand that while someone has a gap on their resume, now listen, you can't go back in after a gap and say, well, like I'd like to be a brain surgeon and I don't have a medical degree. Obviously within reason.
Sure.
But mothers have a very odd way of working under stress, handling a horrific situation calmly. Like this is one of my favorite stories of Becky. My husband had left on a business trip.
Okay.
And I had gotten home from work. The kids were little. I think Jane was 9 and Brooke was like 5. The nanny has left. I'm doing dinner. I'm putting the food on the table. And Jane says to me, I learned all about sex in school today.
Oh,
and
did you know?
Seriously, my 9-year-old, and both my kids are adopted for those listening. My 5-year-old goes, I don't think you're my real mom, are you? And I was like, are you kidding? Both of these scenarios at one? And I go, Jane, you probably did learn about sex today, and I want to hear all about it to make sure you have the right facts. I'm going to tell you in a minute. Brooke, I am your real mom, but I am not your biological mom. You grew in Kelly's tummy. We have discussed this. Kelly is real. I am real. We are both real. Jane, tell me what you learned today. And I'm like,
love it.
Okay, I should be in a courtroom. I didn't skip a beat. And that's a skill. I did not crumble. And yes, my 9-year-old, she actually did learn exactly what sex is. She had it right, confirmed it. It was pretty funny. And I was like, okay, I can handle a lot.
I got this.
This is,
I got this. Yeah. And isn't it so funny how you just do? As women, we just handle stuff. We don't think about things ad nauseum and before we respond or before we take action. My husband always jokes and says that he is somebody who's ready, aim a little to the left, maybe a little to the right. Okay, a little up, fire. And he says, and you, Meeghan, are ready, fire. Because let's just get it done. Let's just do it. I'm very instinctual. I like to just go with my gut 90% of the time. And I think that a lot of that does come from motherhood.
Yeah, I get accused of that too, of being impulsive. And I see why people say that about me, because my career, I have jumped without nets. People think that you just wake up and do that. There's a little more to it. When I take a risk in this world, it is a well thought out, calculated risk. But I get it. If I'm not sharing that information with you, you think I have just jumped off the cliff without a net. I get that. But I think that leads us really into the crux of talking today and about your career, which I'm so excited to talk about because it has been a pleasure to watch you do. I've been watching since you had 18,000 followers. And I was like, Meeghan, and now you're 200,000. Like, you tried a lot of things over the years that I've known you to get back into the workforce. And you even were like, I'm going to try this, but I know it's not right. And let's talk about that self-awareness, number one. And let's talk about this term, the willingness to fail. The willingness to try something that you're like, I don't know if this is going to fit. And then being able to be like, it does not fit and I'm out. Tell me some things that you had tried and how you landed at this fashion and beauty content creator, because that's risky too. That's not easy.
No, it's not at all. To begin, I guess when I got more into the professional arena, having a job, meaning I wasn't doing any sort of freelance work or substitute teaching. I was an employed teacher. back at the preschool where my children both attended. It was the year after lockdown. So I guess was that 2020? I had just gotten my first crazy sheepdog, Quinn, and I was literally laying on the couch. He was maybe home a day or two, and it was 3 a.m, 4 a.m. You know how you get up every few hours to take them out to go to the bathroom. So I had just come in from doing that. It was 3 or 4 a.m, as I said, and I couldn't fall back asleep. So I picked up my phone. I noticed there was an email, something to the effect of, "We are desperate. We need teachers. Would you ever consider being our nursery school teacher," essentially, 2s and 3s. Without even thinking, and I was sleep deprived and whatever, I was like, yeah, absolutely. I would give it some thought. Put the phone down, go to bed, wake up like a Cupid doll, like eyes like blink right open. Oh, crap. What did I just do? What did I just do? I'm about to get all these people out of my house. What? And I have a brand new puppy. Those were all things going through my mind. But I will say, more than anything, I was scared. I hadn't really used my voice, so to speak, in a number of years, other than dealing with my children, dealing with friends, coworkers of my husband. Even to speak, this sounds so pathetic and unreal, but even just to use my voice out loud in front of a number of people that I wasn't related to was intimidating. I was scared. I wasn't thinking that I could even talk to a group of toddlers, for the love of God.
To be fair, and jokes aside, that is not an easy job. It's like herding cats. I mean, this is another thing. Like, people discount teachers.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
yes.
The same way they discount stay-at-home moms. Now,
Yeah.
teacher is 10 times harder than a stay-at-home mom
Really is.
because you got 30 of them.
Totally.
Not yours.
Right.
These are hard jobs. I don't think that your fear, I'm going to give you that grace card.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. I'll
so
take it.
discounted, because I got to tell you something. I would rather do almost any job in life than be a teacher, because I'd probably get fired for being outspoken in my first day. It's hard.
It is hard.
I don't care if it's toddlers, kindergartners, teenagers, seniors.
Yes. It's all hard. Just a different hard for each level. Absolutely.
Such an admiration I have for teachers.
The other piece to this puzzle was, because we were coming out of lockdown, we were still very much in the world of COVID.
Yeah.
So all these little babies were learning how to talk, but they had to be masked up, as we all were. And in the preschool arena, usually you have 1 or 2 co-teachers. But because we were one of the schools that was in person, we were all in cohorts. So it was myself, and I think I had 10 students. It was just really baptism by fire.
How long did you last here?
So I did that for 2.5 years.
That's a valiant effort there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And to be honest, what I'm doing now, when it started to take off, I had told them that I would come back. And because I'd taken a pause on it and was just doing an afternoon program for them that was more part-time. And I missed it. I really did miss it. And I said I would come back in the fall as the lead teacher. And then this took off. So I then decided, you know what, I'm going to take a gamble. I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to bet on myself and see where this takes me. And that's honestly the only reason I didn't go back, because I did love it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it really is incredible. And I do remember, I remember all of it with my foggy brain reason of watching you. Like, I remember you going from this normal Instagram account.
Yep.
All of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, she's got like 18,000 followers. What is going on? And I'm like, because I was always drawn to you for your style, because I'm into that too. So your account to me was just my friend's account. I don't think at the beginning I realized what you were doing, because it was just so natural to me to have these conversations with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because we always talk about fashion and beauty and this and that. Yep.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're at 18,000, then you're at like 24,000. And then I remember the 100,000 balloons in your kitchen. And now you're at like 200,000 or over. Where are you? Like, where are you?
I think it's 237.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
it's amazing. And so here's something that's interesting, I think, for any job. At what point did you think this might actually work? And I know that we're only as good as what we did yesterday across the board, and that tomorrow it could all be gone. But at what point did you think, with these followers climbing, I might really be onto something here? I might really have found road for myself here, and the bet paid off.
Yeah, seriously. I think, believe it or not, it wasn't until last May. So I hit 100,000 on my birthday of all days, May 17th. And that's when I was like, all right, I might be able to like stick with this. I guess I'm resonating with people and I just want to keep doing that. And I never take it for granted. I always know that everyone is replaceable. That's one of the hardest lessons I think we have to learn as human beings, especially in the working world, in the workforce. I learned that in my 20s. That's another story. But yeah, so I think it was around that time. So last spring, let's say.
That's amazing. And I do want to talk about this because I don't mean to be a downer, but I do like to point this out because, listen, my life is nowhere near as on camera all the time as you are. But I do have, through my work at Help Us Adopt, and my 30 Seconds with Becky Fawcett and all these things I do. I do have a public profile and I have a public job and I'm building a nonprofit that needs a public following. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I'm like the luckiest person and so happy in my shoes.
Yes.
But even at my level, it's all the time. My kids make fun of me because I'm always taking pictures in New York to post. And they're like, people are going to think you're a tourist. I'm like, if that's the worst they think about me, I call that a success story. And then I'm always mortifying them because I'm talking to strangers and I'm posting stories. And I do get some downtime, but I will tell you, like, even when I disappear on my 30 seconds for like 2 days, I get messages. I get people saying, are you okay? Like, where are you? What's going on? And you and I have talked about this. Like, you are always like, everybody thinks just be a content creator. It's so easy. You're probably working harder than you've ever worked in any job.
1,000%. And I put in as much time as I possibly can every single day. But I will tell you, I could be doing this 24/7. There's just so much, and my brain never stops. And there's so much to always be learning and always be doing, whether it's sourcing, whether it's editing, whether it's just brainstorming. There's just so many facets to it that I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And every day it's something different, really, which is why I love it.
I always like to precursor what I'm about to say because people will be like, you have to deal with what you asked for. And with some extent, however, this is what I'm going to talk about. You and I, in the last year and a half, both lost a parent very suddenly with no warning.
Yes.
And I know that my close friends knew it happened within hours, but my social media people did not because life had to go on. I remember you showing up on social media and then we bravely told the world. I remember telling the world, wearing my sunglasses and trying not to cry through the message saying, give me some grace. I'm going to ride off into the sunset here and there. But I didn't get to stop. I don't know that I'm wired to really stop and take a bereavement leave from work, but I also really couldn't. I don't have a job that can do that. Now, is it because I'm wired that way? Who knows? And that was hard for you. I know how close you were to your mother. You, especially in your job, couldn't stop.
No, I couldn't. Especially it was November 13th. And in the world of influencing, content creation, however you want to refer to it, this is like high season. You're going into the holidays and there is work to be done and things to be shown. And sure, could I have gone to bed and crawled under the covers? Of course, everyone has choice in life, but maybe it was my avoiding grieving. Maybe it was my not really wanting to deal with the reality of the situation. I'm sure we could analyze this a zillion different ways, but it was and is challenging in that regard. It's so hard because, especially for me, I felt like an ass. Like, here I am going through the most tragic thing that I've had to deal with, pretty much one of the most tragic things I've had to deal with in my life. And I have the nerve to get in front of my phone and start saying where my shirt is from. What the hell? And I kept thinking people must be like, is this girl for real? She's just, what? What is like, what? That's so gross.
This is why I wanted to talk about this because like life doesn't really give you grace. You're not allowed to make mistakes in this world. I always say that. You're not allowed to falter. You're not allowed to do anything that's not like perfect. But then if you try to stay that road, you get criticized for that too. At the end of the day, I'm not the only one going through this. You're not the only one going through this. And again, we don't work for huge companies where you could take a bereavement leave and life would go on perfectly. That's not how my company runs. We're not big. You're a solo act for the most part. I did want to talk about that for everybody because every career has its ups and downs. There's no perfect way to do this. I've always loved getting dressed. Ever since I was about 12 is when the habit really took off. And people stop me in New York and they're like, I love your style. What do you do for a living? And I'm like, I run a national nonprofit that helps people adopt children. And they like fall over on the sidewalk.
I love it.
Because they're not expecting that, which is, what do you expect that person to look like? And I'm always in all black. And how do you feel about my all black wardrobe?
I love black and I love neutrals, but I also love Beachy Becky when she makes an appearance.
You were the person to coin that phrase, Beachy Becky, one summer, who does come out. She comes out in June and July and August.
Yeah, I almost walked right by you.
Yeah, you didn't recognize me in my beach attire. And my hair, I think, had air dried and was up in a clip, I think. Curly. Adorable. No one knows I have curly, wavy hair.
That's right. That's where funny. Beachy Becky originated. I love it.
The thing I love about your personal style and mine as friends, they're really drastically different.
Yeah.
But we both appreciate what the other puts together, right? And there's always been pieces, like while we might wear really different clothes, we'll be like, I love that necklace you're wearing or that bracelet or tell me about that belt or bag. I really love the overlap. And I think that is what's made your platform so good because sometimes you do put things on and you're like, now this wouldn't be my go-to. You're honest about it.
Yeah.
But I'm digging it. I'm digging the sleeve. And for those of you who want color, this might be, I'm telling you, it's terrific.
Yes. Yeah.
Because that's part of your job now.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Because honestly, if it were up to me, I would wear jeans and a button down most every day.
That's your all black outfit.
That is my all black outfit. Totally. Yeah. I think if you are a true fashion lover, then you really have a genuine appreciation for other people's aesthetics. Because to your point, you and I, yes, we dress very differently, but I see you and I'm like, oh my God, she looks so amazing. She looks so cool. I love the signature black. To me, you're very Coco Chanel.
Oh, please. That's the nicest thing ever.
A little edgier, but that's to me, that's what in my brain, that's what I see. I could talk fashion almost all day. I love it.
Were you always into clothes? Did this develop? Did this hit? Did you always sometimes struggle with what is my look? I think people do struggle. I have a uniform. And my friend Laura always says, you have a uniform. You have a certain look. And she's like, how did you figure that out? And I think mine just evolved over time.
Yep.
And what about you?
Same. I think because I know you grew up in a uniform as well as I did. I think that forces us to, at least it forced me to be a little creative, especially in high school, because I did, in terms of uniforms, I must say mine was pretty cool. It was black and white. And I got funky with it. You get so sick of wearing the same thing. But I remember wearing a black motorcycle jacket that I had bought on South Street in Philadelphia. And I took one of my mother's Hermes scarves, put it on with that, my Doc Martens, and a stack of gold bangles. And I was like, yeah, I like this.
When was this? High school?
Yeah.
And you're younger than I am. So that's amazing.
In the 90s.
That's amazing. But the fact that your mother had an Hermes scarf, so you had style in your house. I am like an alien life form in my family. Okay. Now, my mother's mother had style. Like she definitely did. Not exactly as much as over the top as I did, but that's where I think mine came from. I think it skipped a generation, but like my whole family thinks I'm insane.
Mine does too. I mean,
no one dresses like me. No one cares as much as I did. Ever, really. And I think that's very funny. Your mom had style.
Yeah, she did. She was definitely low maintenance, whereas I am the antithesis of that, as we know. But she was somebody who had a very classic aesthetic herself. She always had a blue button down on growing up. She wore her Dr. Scholl's. She wore khaki pants. She had like her straw. She would carry a fisherman's tackle box as her purse in the summer.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And she would wear like a big gold disc necklace. So she had her signature pieces. But again, this was the 70s and the 80s. And people were not as excessive as we are now, and excessive in terms of quantity, in terms of the amount of items that one owns. It was just a different time.
I'm glad you mentioned that word quantity, because we're going to get into the last few questions here. What is your go-to piece of clothing, that thing you buy every time?
Oh, Becky, I have a real problem. There should be a 12-step program for me and my denim addiction.
Okay.
I need help.
Okay.
I don't know what I'm searching for. It's as though there's a hole in my heart that needs to be filled with the perfect pair of jeans. I just love denim. I love it. Yeah.
So it's just, how many pairs of jeans do you own?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I really can't even tell you.
100?
At least.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a situation.
Okay. I wish I could just limit it to one thing.
Yeah.
Mine is black bags.
Okay.
I don't know. I've started wearing jackets instead of sweaters. So now I'm buying and instead of a blazer, like I'm wearing jackets to work instead of a blazer.
Jackets.
And I'm just, it's weird. So oh my gosh, but it's so bad. And now that my youngest daughter, Brooke, is more into clothes and shopping with me, I'll be like, what about this? She's really, you have 60 of those at home. I'm like, shut up.
I know. But this one's different. It has,
this one's different. But I do think that a lot of these things are different. And if you're really into clothes, you do understand that you could have 5 black bags, but they're different. They're different.
I feel it. Yes. And then my other new thing, my other addiction is the furs, but they are vintage. They're vintage.
And I remember you bought one years ago, and then it was in the basement for a while because you're like, well, that was a mistake because you bought it off like eBay or something. I remember this has been a long going thing.
Oh,
and
this was
so funny.
Yeah.
But let's talk about this. Like, regrets. I just took a bunch of stuff to a consignment shop in a designer place in New York, 3 bags of stuff, because I was trying to clean out stuff I really don't wear and my girls don't care about.
Yeah.
And there were 2 pieces of clothing that I took that had the tag on. And I was like, I rarely make mistakes. One was a cocktail dress. I bought it because it was on sale. I just shouldn't have gotten it. Should have returned it. Do you make mistakes?
There's a couple of things in my closet that there's this one blouse, but here's the problem. I can't bring myself to get rid of it for whatever reason. There's some...
I get that. You're seen here. You are seen and understood here.
I don't know why. And this girl that I've been working with, Sam, I call her my angel because she's really trying to help me get my act together in terms of purging and organizing. And it is an ongoing process, let me tell you. But I will say, to really answer your question, of course, we all make mistakes. If we're taking risks, we're going to make a fashion mistake. But I feel as though my mistakes have lessened as my own personal style has really been honed. Am I really going to wear that? Is that a piece that I'm going to have for a decade? If I wasn't in the biz I'm in at the moment, I swear to you, with the exception of my denim, I would really try and have a European wardrobe where you have 2 or 3 pairs of pants, but they are the most exceptional quality. Same thing for your blouses, for your cashmere, for your outerwear. I would really try and be that person. I don't know if that is really achievable for me, especially right now. It's most likely not, but that is what I would aspire towards.
Okay. Favorite accessory, like category?
Jewelry,
bracelets,
bracelets, 100%. I love bracelets. And I love sharing them with people because, meaning this is what I have on, this is because I feel like no matter what your size, what your skin tone, everybody can use a great bracelet. And a bracelet can add so much to an outfit, even if you just have a t-shirt and jeans on and a fabulous bracelet. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I've always been the bracelet stack on my list since Madonna came out.
I was just about to say.
That was my,
Yep.
That was it. So,
Love it.
and now I just pile it on as much as can fit around my neck and my
I
rings
love
and
it.
my whatever. But
Yep.
okay, we're going into the last flash round.
Yes.
Favorite splurge in your closet?
It has to be the furs and the shoes.
Yeah.
Specifically Chanel. I love a Chanel flat. They are so comfortable. And I love my Manolos. Love them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite save in your closet? I was telling Brooke the other day when we were walking in about something that a lot of us, of my friends, myself included, listen, when I was younger, when I made a lot of money and didn't have the expensive kids, I spent money on some expensive things. And I said, and now I still have those expensive things because they were good investments.
Yes.
And now I get my fashion high off finding something amazing for $20. Like,
Totally.
and my whole sort of shift in how I shop.
Yes.
Like people be like, I love your outfit. I'm like, great. This t-shirt was $5 from Target.
Right.
That's my brag moment. I have this long blazer, almost like a duster coat on today. It's from Forever 21. I think it was $26. And people stop me and they think it is something. It is something, but it's not what you think it is.
Exactly. I love that too. It's like the hunt. Like I love that.
Yeah.
So there's a tank from Amazon that I love. Speaking of shoes, I call them the Fanolos because they're from Amazon. They're leopard.
Well, I've seen those on your links and people we're going to get to that in a minute too when we close out. But like you do have some good links of some really good looking dupes and
the
stuff.
leopard ones are chef's kiss good. Really good.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is I love a secondhand experience, whether it's the Real, whether it's Vestaire, eBay. I love it. If I see a shirt that I know was like 2 or 3 seasons ago, I'm like a dog with a bone. I will find that. I don't care if I have to stay up till 3 a.m. I will find it. Oh, and one other thing.
Okay.
I love a good belt. Zara has awesome belts.
Yeah, I saw you on your Zara haul yesterday. I saw that.
That's a good
saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that. They do have some good. I mean, they had one that really looked like Alaya recently. And if Alaya, you know that you need a mortgage payment to buy their belt. And there was a really good one. Yeah. Okay. So I think I want my last question to be a piece of advice for people who are listening or people who might be sitting there going, I really want to make a different effort when I get dressed every day. I really want to look differently. I don't know where to start. What would you tell someone who says that? I'm a mom. I wear yoga pants and a hoodie and a fleece or jeans and a hoodie, and I want to dress it up.
Yeah.
How do I do that easily without breaking the bank? And how do I break out of my rut?
Yeah. So the first thing I would say is find someone's style that you admire. That's the easiest thing. And then make it work for you. So if you are that mom who is in the yoga gear, you can easily dress that up or change it. So what I would do, and I actually did this a week ago, get a great blazer, put the blazer on over the leggings and the sweatshirt, take off your sneakers, put on a cool pair of flats. They don't have to be Chanel. You can get a great pair at Zara or Target or H&M. Then put on a scarf, a cool pair of earrings, and you're done. And that's it.
People say to me, they're like, you're so elegant every day. I go, okay, thank you for saying that. But I need to explain something to you. All black is so easy. That's part of my MO too. Like I put on black pants and a t-shirt. Like today I'm wearing black cargo pants, a t-shirt, and this long duster. And it is such an easy set. It's no different than sweatpants and a sweatshirt and a jacket.
Yeah. It's just elevated.
It works. And that's the thing. It didn't take much effort. You can simplify this. It really can be done. And it doesn't have to be an elaborate, this took me 8 hours to get dressed. I mean, black matches black. And that works for me.
If you dress in a monochromatic way, if you're not a black person, you could dress in all olive. I love olive green. That could be your
ivory.
thing.
I love all ivory.
Khaki. Yes, I love that's so elegant.
Yeah.
Love
and
that.
some people love navy instead of black. I don't love navy because fine. But like all of this works. And you have to just start to test it out. And I do think when you said no Chanel flat, you don't have to buy. I like this too. If you're breaking into thinking you might want a pair of Chanel flats, buy the dupes.
Right.
first.
Yeah.
Make sure you like them before you go invest in a pair of shoes that you might be like, this is not me. And now you're stuck. So I don't think there's anything wrong to investing in something amazing if that's what makes you happy. But maybe test out a cheaper pair before you do it, because again, you might not care. So I'm
right there with you.
Save and splurge. Save and splurge.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Well, this has been amazing. I could talk to you for hours about all of these things.
Yes.
Please tell everybody where they can find you anywhere and follow your style and your links and your just fun things. And these lunatic dogs that she has. I say that with a big smile on my face because I love dogs. And your home is beautiful. We didn't even get to talk about your home. But
thanks.
if you don't follow Meeghan, even if it's not your exact style, you're going to like it. You're going to like it. You're going to take something away from what she's doing.
Instagram is my main platform as of the moment. And that I am at Meeghan Meeghan M. And then TikTok, I don't post on there as much as I should, but that's Meegs 1717. And then LTK. You can find me Meeghan M as well. That's its own social platform. Most people don't realize that. And that's where I link everything. Is right there, as well as I save things on my page in highlights, those bubbles, those little circles. I don't know if not everybody knows what that is, but I try and save a lot of things on there. I need to update that as I'm saying it.
It's really great following you. And listen, I'm pretty savvy. I live in New York City. I love all these subject lines, and I still buy things off your links because I'm like, oh, I like that. I think there's something for everyone. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
And really fun. I hope you enjoyed our podcast today with Meeghan Mullin, my friend and Instagram sensation. And my 30 seconds today is this. It is about clothing, and it is about how you get dressed. And I do think that when people get dressed, they're getting dressed for themselves. It is an art form almost. And I know someone might say, really? It is. I take great pride in getting dressed. I love putting everything together. And when I'm out on the streets of New York and I see someone who, again, might not be my style, but I love what they have done and I understand what they have done, I always talk to strangers. It's the same with how Meeghan and I met. It starts with a compliment, and you can meet so many great people in life if you just take the chance to talk to a stranger and say, I love what you're wearing. This look really is great for you. Or your jacket is amazing. Or I wish I could pull off wearing the color red. Or I've even walked up to strangers who are reading a book and I'm like, I just read that. It was amazing. Does everybody become your best friend? Probably not, because you need some substance to add on to that first icebreaker. But try it. And I will tell you this, just last weekend in New York, I was walking to the bus on 57th Street. I saw two women who had clearly taken some time to put themselves together. And I said, ladies, I got to know what you're wearing. And I stood there on the sidewalk and we talked for about 10 minutes and we laughed and we talked about what was the expensive piece they were wearing and what was the Amazon find. And I don't know their names. I'll never see them again. It was a moment. And they said, bye. And I said, bye. It was great. So try it. Compliment a stranger. See how their face lights up. 30 seconds with Becky Fawcett. Thank you for listening to the Fawcett Report. I'm so glad you were here today. And here's to seeing the world a little differently and possibly using your voice to make a difference. You can follow the Fawcett Report on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. And you can message me on Instagram or Facebook. And I will actually respond as long as you're not mean. You can disagree with me. You can share your point of view, but you can't be mean because I don't do mean. And finally, if you're curious about my adoption advocacy and family building work through helpusadopt.org, you can find us there on Instagram and Facebook, as well as through the website, helpusadopt.org. See you next time.